Hi, I'm Raymond Barnett. I serve as a transfer coordinator for the Office of Admissions at University of Illinois Springfield. I'm happy that you can be here, and I'd love to share with you a little bit about UIS and what we can be for you as you consider your transfer options. I hope that by the time this session ends, as you see the first screen, that you will come away understanding how our university brings to the transfer student a college experience that is personal, high quality, practical, and marketable for your future. UIS is a four-year public university that is part of the University of Illinois system. Though we are part of a large university system, our campus enrollment is only 5,100 students, 64% of which enter as transfer students. And we house 1,100 students, though we expect to add more campus apartments in the future. We have 24 academic majors within our 4 colleges. In addition, we have 8 online undergraduate degrees that we offer to serve the student who cannot attend college in the traditional manner. Now, UIS has been a national leader of online education for nearly 2 decades, while keeping a traditional brick and mortar nature to our high-level liberal arts education. Now, UIS's small enrollment means that no one should worry about being lost in the crowd. They are pursuing their education. As they are pursuing their education, our professor teaches every class, which means they will know you by your name and your personality, not just by a number that's assigned to you or a seat in your classroom. Our professor will be there to work with you on course advising, internship advising, and professional development opportunities. Now, UIS wants you to succeed. All universities do. But what we want to do is we want to have you assisting a professor on research for a professional journal article or working at an advertising firm in London. UIS wants the student to make an impression beyond the grade on a transcript. Since we're situated between the cities of Chicago and St. Louis, we are strategically located to connect our students with internship opportunities that are not only relevant to your majors, but often personalized toward your career goals. You'll never have to compete with 100 or more people for an opportunity to put into real-life work what you've been learning in the classroom. If you want an internship, you get an internship. Now, as you can see on the next slide, the cost of attending UIS is very reasonable. I should mention, though, that transfer students may see a lower cost than that $22,000 that's quoted. And that could be because of the great number of options in housing for a transfer student and meal plans. In addition, our online degree-seeking students have been known to spend even less on the student fees side of things. UIS has long served the transfer student, and we're one of the first universities in the Midwest to establish a transfer merit scholarship to reward those high-achieving students. UIS has also been highly ranked by U.S. News and World Reports for the last 5 years among universities where students graduate with the lowest debt. There are plenty of scholarship options available to the transfer student beyond our merit scholarships. And as a state university, UIS does attract the majority of its students from within Illinois. However, we've been expanding our enrollment from students outside the state and also outside the United States. Now, some of you may know about Springfield, Illinois. Some of you may not. The city of Springfield is known, obviously, for being Abraham Lincoln's hometown, and also we're the state capital of Illinois. But Springfield offers so much more for its size. Our reputation as a top regional medical district is growing. Our central location in Illinois lends to a high concentration of state-funded and nonprofit agencies. And all the facets of this city that I've described and much more make a wonderful laboratory for developing young professionals and future public servants. Springfield also offers a growing social and cultural life for its residents. Now, student life. Being a smaller university, every student matters. To us, when it comes to student life, we want you to be involved. If you come to UIS with an interest in continuing to explore facets of your life that you find rewarding, we want to help you in achieving those goals. In achieving these goals, we hope that each student also finds the leader within them. After all, what good is a college education if you don't come out ready to lead the pack? Now, one example is Jamal Hollins. He is currently the student member for the University of Illinois Board of Trustees. Pretty great spot. He didn't come in planning to do that. Now, after 2 years in Student Senate, though, a few years as a member of Big Brother, Big Sister, and being a mentor for first-generation college students, the next thing he knew is he wanted to take that next step as a leader. Jamal's been a great addition to UIS, and we hope that there's a lot of other people just like Jamal who'd like to come here too. There's no more comfortable, and I'm biased, this is my school, and I lived in these apartments, but there's no more comfortable and convenient housing options for transfer students in the state of Illinois than the townhouses and the apartments of University of Illinois Springfield. Maybe it's your first time away from home. If that's the case, these apartments serve as a wonderful starter experience. Maybe you might be a non-traditional student. Our townhouses certainly will beat the dormitories, and they're pretty roomy. As a transfer student, you do have the option also of living off campus should you choose, and the Springfield area has a large collection of apartment options very close to the campus. Now, UIS has a long tradition, excuse me, has a long tradition, UIS has a long tradition of being experts in transfer admissions. We know how to evaluate your courses and place them in the most expedient and productive degree plan for you. As you can see, we require students to have at least 30 transferable hours from an accredited university, a grade point average of a 2.0. Now, there might be some different requirements for our online programs. And then we have application, we don't have an application deadline, and we have a term of entry for the fall, spring, or summer. So there's a lot of different options for the transfer student with admissions. Now, all of what I shared contributes to the impressive rankings that we've achieved from U.S. News and World Reports, also Kiplinger's, and we've achieved these, especially in the last half decade. Now, at UIS, we'll find people that will care about your success in the classroom and also out of it. We'll always provide you options for professional and personal development, and we'll provide you a private school education for a public school price, and then you have that University of Illinois degree. Please don't forget to visit UIS. Our preview days right now for this spring will be April 26th. If you're looking for the future preview days that we'll be hosting in the fall or spring of 15, please take a look at www.uis.edu, admissions visit. There's general sessions, there's information expo, there's panels, there's lunch, nice lunches, and a great campus tour. And of course, we always have individual visits that you can set up Monday through Friday. We usually provide a campus tour, a meeting with one of our admissions representatives, and a financial aid meeting. If you want something more than that, just let us know. Might take us a little bit extra time, but not that much. So you see our email and our website as well as our phone if you have any questions and you want to contact us directly. But the next few minutes, maybe more than just a few minutes, is free for us to talk about any questions or concerns that you'd like to share now. So I hope to hear from you.
How's the campus life at UIS?
Well, speaking as someone who was involved in student life when we were, when I was much younger, definitely there's been an increase in student life. There's a big increase in student life. And one of the nice things about that is if you're wanting to be involved in it, you can. If you just have to focus on your studies, we understand that. We're not going to get in your way. We want you to achieve what you want to achieve. But you put into your student life what you get out of it. We are not UCLA. We're not University of Arizona. We're not University of Wisconsin-Madison. We're not going to be able to send thousands and thousands of activities your way. But for a school our size, we provide a lot of events a lot of activities, a lot of student organizations that you might want to be involved in that will make you feel at home. So I think we have a lot of options here for the student who wants to be involved in student life. Excuse me.
Now, why would a student maybe choose UIS over another university in Illinois?
Well, I think if you compare us to most state universities, you're going to find us to be a very small, personal, intimate university that wants to kind of do a hands-on approach with all of our students. We want to guide you through to success. Being 5,100 students as opposed to schools of 25, 50, 75,000 has its advantages. I use that phrase a lot. It's a little bit lame, the phrase private school education for a public school price, but it is so apt for this school. So I think that's the reason you pick us over the other state schools. And not just Illinois state schools.
In terms of the campus, is it a safe environment?
Well, once again, there's an advantage to being a smaller campus. We're very easy to get around. We have great patrols from our U of I campus police. They are state police trained, so very well trained, very well set up. We're also patrolled by county police, state police, city police, and I'm not saying we're a police state, or anything like that, but there's definitely the situation that if you're up to something and you want to be up to something, then you might be caught. But if you're saying, I want to be safe, I want to be able to get back to my car safely, my apartment safely, we're well lit, we have blue phones which go directly to the campus security office or campus police office. There's definitely all different types of ways that if you need a more feeling of more safety, we're going to be able to provide that, including we even have our campus police provide escorts back to cars and back to our residence halls and our apartments upon request.
How is the campus life in general?
Campus life, well, we have once again lots of student organizations, about 83, 87 student organizations. We have student activities and student life offices and professionals who are always looking at what can we provide for the student to develop them, to provide them opportunities such as our career fairs. I think we have some really great brown bag discussions, which are little seminars on various subject matters. Being in the state capitol, if you're a politics addict, you're going to find out plenty of information about public policy also. But if you're wanting to know a little bit more about the arts, about theater, about athletics, even just the recreational side of things, I think student life is, once again, what you make of it. If you want to be involved, it'll be great.
What about in Springfield in general? What are your favorite things to do in Springfield?
Well, I have a 9-month-old daughter, so right now my favorite thing to do in Springfield is to nap. But, sorry. But other than that, a few things come to mind. First of all, I'm a history buff. I came from deep southern Illinois, moved up here as a student, and one of the reasons was because Lincoln was here. And definitely now the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum, which has now been around for, I think, almost 10 years, it just is a wealth of entertainment, a wealth of knowledge, and you come away changed from that experience if you've never been there. I still go there on a regular basis. I think I've made about 13 trips over there, which, yeah, makes me, as my wife says, a bit of a geek, but it's a great experience, nevertheless. I also like the fact that you have a town of 120, 110,000 people, but it feels like it's just like 10 towns of 10,000 people. So you have little neighborhood restaurants that have been owned and operated for over 50, 60 years, and then you have, of course, plenty of restaurants that are just chain restaurants. Being a state capital, we are an eating town. So definitely, if you want to find a place to have a nice meal out, great place to be in that case. And I'm kind of a fan of our drive-in movie theater that we have that shows two movies at the same time, different locations, different sides, one to the right, one to the left. And I really am kind of a fan of that too. And one of the reasons why I'm hoping the weather gets a little bit better soon.
How high is the acceptance rate for admitting freshmen?
Well, I always tell students that acceptance rate for an admitting freshman is really not about us looking at your scores and deciding, are they high enough for our admission? We have certain set standards. We expect a student to have an 18 ACT score. We would prefer a student to have a grade point average of a 3.0 or better. And if they have a class ranking, we'd like their class ranking to be in the top half of their graduating class. In addition, we want a strong personal statement. We don't want just someone who's strung together a couple hundred words just to string them together. We want a real strong personal statement. If you satisfy all those things, you're going to be in pretty good shape with UIS. If you're looking at the honors route, there are higher ACT requirements, higher grade point average requirements, maybe a little bit different requirements as far as courses that you've taken in high school. Obviously, you should have taken college prep courses if you're wanting to be considered. So I'd rather not go into the acceptance rate. I just want to assure you that if you've qualified or satisfied some of the requirements I've described, you're going to be in good shape.
We have a question about the health program. Can you talk about the health program at all?
Well, it all depends on what Jasmine is asking about. If this is about our public health master's program, we definitely have a really strong master's program. Helps to be in the state capital for that. It also helps to be in a place which is an emerging medical district. If you're looking at if you're asking the question from the standpoint of pre-medicine, in that case, the great thing about being a small school, once again, we have a very personalized pre-med advising option. We have faculty, we have defined advisors who work with the students to get them prepared, not just prepared by coursework, but also prepared for MCAT sample tests, things like that. So, Jasmine, if you can get back to me and drill down that question a little bit more, I'd be happy to answer.
So kind of the theme of admissions, are students able to get financial aid?
Definitely. Right now, as some of the information showed before, we provide about 70% of our students with some sort of financial aid. I think that percentage is a little bit off in the sense that that doesn't cover our students who are state employees. And being in the state capital, we have a lot of them, and they're covered by some state, state development, professional development funds that don't fit in as the financial aid. And then there are students who are only taking one course, and in those cases, they're not going to use financial aid either. So I think that percentage actually would be much higher if you're looking at full-time students or even part-time students. I think it would be much higher, actually. Jasmine, have you gotten back to us?
Nothing from Jasmine yet.
Okay, we're waiting for you.
How old is it as a UIS? Is it a newer school, an older school?
Well, you're asking the guy who was here a while ago, and I'm a history major, former history teacher. University of Illinois Springfield has been around as UIS since 1995, when we joined the University of Illinois system. Now, before that, though, we were known as Sangamon State University. When the state of Illinois started noticing that there were colleges around Illinois that were not giving full credit for transfer courses being taken at a community college. This was back in the 60s when community colleges were still relatively new. They decided they wanted to create laboratory schools, and there were two that they created. The first one was Sangamon State University. And once again, another reason why we're a transfer expert. So 1969-1970 was the first year that we opened as Sangamon State, as a junior, senior graduate school. In 1995, we became part of the University of Illinois system, a great next step. And then in 2000, we decided to start bringing in freshmen. Our first group of freshman class members came in 2001. As we've developed, now we're 44 years old. As we've been continuing to develop, one of the nice things that you see is, though we are becoming a more traditional university, we still have that unique, quirky nature about us that keeps us focused on the individual student success. And I think for the transfer student, especially, that's a very important thing. if I may editorialize.
What all do I need to apply to the school? What all is necessary?
Well, for a transfer application, it's pretty simple. It's the application fee, unless you're a veteran, and if you provide your DD 214, we'll take care of that application fee waiver option. You can also get an application fee waiver if you choose to provide your FAFSA information and we see enough financial need. And then besides the application and the application fee, all we need is your prior transcript. If you've gone to prior other colleges besides just the one that you're currently at, we'll need all the official transcripts sent from your prior colleges.
Is it hard to get in, you think?
It's hard if you don't have the basic information that we shared before. If you don't have a 2.0 GPA, if you have less than 30 hours, then we may have to look at you as an incoming freshman instead. If your courses are from a school that isn't fully accredited, and there are those out there, then things may be a bit difficult. With our online departments, the online programs have a little bit more stringent requirements as far as grade point averages, certain course requirements, and if you're missing those, that may make things a little bit difficult about getting admitted too. But if you have the 2.0, not 3.0, 2.0 and 30 hours, you're in pretty good shape to be admitted. We can accept, if I may add that, we can accept anywhere from 66 to 72 freshman, sophomore level credit hours toward your overall degree, which is usually 120 hours. So we're, once again, very transfer friendly.
Jasmine has another follow-up question.
Great.
Are there any special programs for physical therapy?
Well, part of our pre-med, it's actually a pre-professional health advising services group. Part of that includes physical therapy. So we do use universities that are prominent, especially in the Midwest, as our template for what prerequisite courses they're looking for. And then our advisors work with you on figuring out what courses you may need to take. They'll also alert you of any special representatives from certain colleges that are going to be here on campus that are going to talk about what they're looking for from prospects. So yeah, we do definitely have that option. We do not have a defined degree in physical therapy, but if you check out those physical therapy majors, there's more and more physical therapy majors that are going to the grad level or the doctoral level instead of at the undergraduate level. So we don't have that, but we can definitely get you prepared to move on to the right school.
Does that happen? A lot of people come here and prepare for higher graduate education or professional education?
I think for certain majors we're a perfect fit. Obviously pre-law, I think we're a perfect fit. You have the State Bar Association, you have the Attorney General's office, you have a lot of attorneys because it is the state capital, and then you have a lot of attorneys in the state capital. So definitely you're going to have people interested in that. And I think we're having an emerging group of students who are looking at us on the pre-med side of things, obviously because, once again, that emerging medical district here in Springfield. And we have people who are thinking certain grad programs at other universities, and they know that what they need are certain strong undergraduate course work, and what can make that difference for them. I didn't talk a lot about it, but the internship. What looks better on a resume than having practical experience from an internship with State Bar Association, with the state police, with the Environmental Protection Agency, with DCFS? What works better for a student when they're trying to get into grad school than showing that they have practical experience in it? If you want an internship, you get it here at UIS, and I think that's also drawing students to us for that reason.
Are there any transfer tools, such as transfer guides, that are available?
Well, there is a State of Illinois website, which is no longer a State of Illinois. It actually expands out to the national, to the nation, and that is Transferology. It used to be called USelect, so if you do a web search for USelect, you'll find it under Transferology. They're still working on it. It's still under construction, but it's not a bad start. You may also want to check out iTransfer, and I believe that's itransfer.org. But if you're looking just at UIS for what resources we offer, we have transfer guides for those who live in the state of Illinois. We have transfer guides for every community college in the state of Illinois, as well as Benedictine, Springfield Benedictine, which is for all purposes, really just a 2-year school that happens to have a few 4-year options here in Springfield. We've got Robert Morris transfer guides, and we've also got a transfer guide for McCormick College in Chicagoland, as well as Lincoln College. So we try to look at where we've been getting our students, also some of the students in St. Louis, Iowa, even a part of Kentucky. So we are trying to show all the different options for students from all the different directions, at least in the Midwest right now. If you don't have that, if you're from California, if you're from Arizona, if you're from Michigan, first of all, come on down, come on over. But we have a very good degree audit system through the application process that will make certain that the courses that you've taken fit into the proper degree plan for whatever major you are looking into. Does that answer? May have gone much longer on answering than needed.
Are there resources on the UIS website for that?
Well, of course, if you go to our main website and you click on New Students, you'll find the transfer page. On the transfer page, it can direct you to agreements that we already have with existing community colleges. Also, it covers our transfer guides for all 48 community colleges and junior colleges that we work with. So that's definitely available. And then the other resource that I keep talking about, at the risk of sounding a bit egotistical, is me. I'm transfer coordinator. If you have every student has a different individual story. Every student is different. And sometimes there are things that are extenuating circumstances. Sometimes there are just unique qualities about you. Let me know what that is. I want to be able to help you. And if I can't answer the question, I know the professors and I know the other professionals that can.
All right. Well,
Does anyone want to know about useless college trivia with U of I Springfield?
Sure, do you have some fun trivia that you can share?
I have two, and I heard this when I was a volunteer student ambassador here 20 years ago, and I still like these two stories. First of all, well, actually, 2 or 3, probably just 2. First of all, 1969, there was actually a faculty mixer that took place a few months before classes began, and a number of our faculty members, about 10 or 12 of them, made such close friendships with each other that they decided that they had heard about this music festival that was going to be taking place in upstate New York. So yes, there were 10 or 12 who got into a van and did a road trip to Woodstock. The last professor who did that, who was teaching here, I think he retired back in 99, 2000, something like that, but it's kind of nice to know we have faculty who are that way, who are a little bit more beyond just what's happening in the classroom. The other story I always like to share is that the first few years that the University of Illinois Springfield, then known as Sangamon State, was in operations, they would advertise for faculty. Obviously, every university advertises for faculty, usually in the Chronicle of Higher Ed. In the case of UIS SSU at the time, we actually advertised in Rolling Stone magazine for a few years. Kind of tells you that we were a little bit of a different animal back then. We're still a little bit different in a good way. And those two stories, I think, tell you we're not your normal state school. And I think that's in a good way. We're not your normal state school. Majority of our professors, another thing that probably is not as big of a shock anymore as it used to be, but even when I came as a student back in the mid-90s, UIS has always had professors who want to be called by their first name. They don't want to be known as Dr. Cornell or Dr. Siles. My mom drilled it into me to call them all by doctor. They earned it. They get the name. So I always did it. But it was nice to know that you could call them Bill. You could call them Cecilia. You could call them Yolanda if you wanted to. But, and I think that's still the nature of UIS today. Very personalized. The professors are here to teach you. They may be academics. They may be experts. They may be proud of what they've achieved. But they're not so proud, they're not so expert that they're not going to work personally with you.
where's your favorite place to eat in Springfield?
Oh, gosh. I think there are 2 places. I'm I think the obvious one, if you live in Springfield, everyone loves Saputo's. It's been around for 90 years or so. It's downtown Springfield, not too far from the old state capitol. It's just incredible Italian food. They have an antipasto that they serve you before any really good Italian dish. So that's outstanding. I love it. And then, I live a little bit outside in a suburb, and in that suburb town called Chatham, there's a place called Fulgenzi's, which once again, great Italian restaurant. I like all types of food, but these Italian restaurants they're bringing the game. I mean, they're doing well. And so those are my two favorites. Chicken Parmesan at Fulgenzi's, got to do it. And then there's a baked spaghetti at Saputo's.
All right, anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Barnett?
Well, I've talked a lot about how you put in your student life what you get out of student life what you put into it. And I think it's the same thing with your education. UIS does not give you tests of mark A, B, C, or D to prove how much you know. UIS wants the student to prove how much they know by speaking, by writing, by doing. That's showing true knowledge. That's showing true understanding of what you're trying to learn and how you apply it. You can have all the brains, you can have all the intelligence in the world, but if you don't know how to apply it, you might as well be Roomba or some other useful robot. So in my opinion, that's another wonderful thing about UIS. For the transfer student, there's no better place to pick. We're going to work with you, we're going to prepare you, we're going to get you on the right path if you ask. That's always the key. That's the thing I always tell students about college success. Part of it is you asking the questions. If you don't ask questions, if you just keep to yourself, you might get by, but you won't prosper. And UIS, you can prosper with us if you just keep asking questions and stay in touch with us. My personal email is rbarn2, R-B-A-R-N-2, @uis.edu. Feel free to contact me or feel free to make fun of me for how I looked on the screen. I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.